All right, everybody. Last time when we were working with our project, we added in these 4 different pieces of the UI, and we still have it so that our second controller can bring in a new character, and if we've got more controllers, more gamepads, then we can add more characters as we go. So the next thing we're going to be doing is showing how we can alter the character a little bit so that we can have some differentiation on the character themselves. So I'm going to show you a couple different things we can do with this. One of them is going to be changing the color on the characters themselves, and another is going to be putting a text renderer above the head of each of the characters, so that you have a couple different ways you can manage different looks for people and see how that can branch out into some different spaces. So names above heads, maybe a widget blueprint for health or ammo or power-ups or something along those lines. Then you can handle that through the text render that we'll have on top as well. So let's go ahead and do a few things. Let's take a look at the content drawer. We're going to be heading over to our third-person character into blueprint and looking at our BP third person. So right now we have the Quinn mannequin up, and I'm going to just make some changes. So keep Quinn if you'd like. I'm going to switch mine over to the Manny, and that's going to give it just a second for that to do that. And the reason for this is I just want to show some difference, and I feel like you can kind of see the color difference better on the Manny than the Quinn. It's probably not a real thing. It's probably my own eyes on the whole thing, but we're going to be changing element 0 right here. And keep in mind the 4 different colors that we need are orange, red, green, and blue. So we're going to go in here and we're going to find that we have an issue right away. We don't really have an orange, okay? We don't technically have a red. Here we go. Let's try green. Yeah, no green. And what about a blue? We probably have something that looks like blue, but okay, there's like a solid blue right there. But I think one of the best things we can do is also learn how to make some quick materials. So if you don't have a color that you need, let's just make it. So one way to look through all of these and find any colors, you just type in M_. And a lot of times that's going to give you all the materials in a space. So let's look through here real quick and see if we can find anything that's already a color. So we have shelf, wood, got some chrome materials here, and really we don't need a whole lot. We can just take the material off of something else that works for us. Shelf material is not bad, but I want just something a solid color. Okay, so let's see here. Just kind of sorting through. I thought we had a blue somewhere in here. Let me go ahead and just jump in here. See what we got. Solid, M solid. Well, let's take a look at this one. Let's just see. Okay, I'm going to double click here. And yeah, we can work with this. That should work. It's got a metallic and a roughness to it, but I think we can work with this. So when you're looking for something, just to copy real quick, just to make a color, metallic and roughness, what this does, metallic kind of gives a shiny look to it. Roughness will provide a little bit of grain to it so that you can have some shadows on it, like let's say you're looking at a piece of rough rock versus a smooth piece of tile, or even a hammered piece of steel, something along those lines. So that's where all those two are going to be working together. Main thing for this one though is we're just going to be changing this base color right here. We don't really have to mess with these at all. We can if you want to, but you know, mostly we're just looking for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my content drawer, and I'm going to make a copy of M solid right here. I'm going to right click on that, duplicate, and this one is going to be orange. So we're going to do that one. And since I'm here, now let's just make orange first and let's make sure everything goes down cool. So I'm in M_orange right now. I'm going to go to the base color, and right over here we have the default value for the base color. And I'm going to pick out, well, that's the orange color that I had right there. But I might make it a little bit darker. let's see, pull it down a little more. There we go. So this is going to be the color that I use for my character. This will be the orange color for the character. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. Let that save. Okay, go ahead and save it. And then we're just going to make copies of that. So we're going to right click here and duplicate. And this one, instead of orange, is going to be, oh, this is in level prototyping. That seems like a fine place for it. Let's see, we have orange, then we have red. Okay, so we're going to go into red, and we're going to make a few changes. Just really one change. Go in here, pick our red. Looks good, like that. Apply, save. Let's go back. We're going to make a green. Let's see, where's my duplicate? There we go. And this one, let me go ahead and change the name on that. We're going to do green. Okay, and we'll go in here. We've got our color. And I'm going to choose that nice shade of green there. Okay, looks good. We'll apply that. Save everything. One more. All right, so I'm going to copy the red, duplicate, and this one is going to be blue. Okay, so we'll go into blue. Just go to the base color, default, and select the blue that we had from before. There we go. All right, so we have all of our materials that we need. Just save everything real quick, and I don't need them up anymore. The original material, nah, we don't need to do that. Okay, I want to leave that original solid material as is. So, nah. All right. Go ahead and compile. Now, let's just take a look real quick at what we got. Element 0, our first one's going to be orange. So now when we look this up, we have orange right there. So it just looks really yellow, right? Yeah, I think I want to change that. So even here, if you're just like, I don't like it, just double click right here in that materials menu. I'm going to go into this, and I'm just going to crank this down a lot more. Hit OK. Yeah, I feel like it still needs to be a little bit darker. Maybe it's just me. And pull it down a little more. There we go. Or we can even drag it over to be a little more red if we needed to. Looks pretty burnt orange right there. Yeah, I like that. Let's do that. Now if I go back over here, okay, yeah, that looks a lot more orange. I like that. Okay, cool. Everything looks good. I'm actually going to put it back to where it was, or I'll just put it on something that's not one of my main colors. And as soon as that chrome comes back onto my Manny here, there we go. This will be the base version. Okay, so we're going to be going over to the event graph, and what we're going to be doing is every time a pawn is spawned into the area, then they're going to go through an event begin play, and what we want them to do is tell us what index ended up on this particular pawn, the one that you're controlling, whether it's the first, second, third, or fourth. So as soon as it spawns, it'll start running this event begin play right here. So what we'll want to do is we'll need to take the name that the pawn spawned with, and we'll need to pull it apart so we can get the index out of it. Fortunately, the index is the last character on the name, so we just have to go through it a little bit backwards. So first off, we're going to get a reference to self. Okay, and from there, we're going to work our way up to the player state. Okay, get player state. Okay, I kind of like tucking things up underneath themselves so they can all be together. Get player controller. Player state, yep, that's the one we want. Okay, and then we're going to get the display name. Now, at this point, I can probably show you what this is going to look like. So let's go ahead and pull this off. We're going to do print string. And we'll plug that in. And I want this to stay on the screen a little bit longer. About 5 seconds sounds good. All right, let's see what this looks like. Okay, hit play. And didn't really see it. Let me see. Just not trying to read property player state. And let's see, maybe we, let's see here. Oh, right. It's not really going to give us much because it doesn't actually know what the display name is yet, probably. So we'll probably put in a little bit of delay here, give it a chance to gather that information. I don't think we'll even need 0.2, we'll do 0.1. All right, and let's try this one more time. Okay, play. Okay, PC underscore CC0. That's the name. Player character, couch co-op 0, or player controller. That's our player controller, sorry. So what we're going to do is we'll go back in here and we're going to add a little bit more onto this. So I'm going to keep that print string because I have a feeling we're going to want to use it a little bit more later, just kind of show you how this is getting pulled apart. I'm going to disconnect this and I'm going to parse the name PC underscore CC0. It'll also be CC1, CC2, CC3. We want to parse into an array. So this array is a list and it's going to keep track of all the different pieces that are in here. And what we're going to do is we can provide a delimiter. So if you've got a list of names and they have spaces in between them, then you might leave a space in here to say, like, every time there's a space, there's a new item to add into the list. In our case, we can read all the way through till we get to CC. Okay. And once we hit CC, we want the thing right after it. Okay. That's kind of what we're shooting for. So here is going to be our big old list that it makes. Probably going to be like 2 things because CC is going to be everything up to CC and then it's going to start counting things after that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off of this. We're going to get reference, okay, right here, and we're going to get the first thing after that delimiter. Okay. From here, we're going to just run it into, let's run it into our in string here. And so now it should give us just a 0. We won't see all the rest of the stuff on here if this is working correctly. And I did not see it up there. Did access 1 in there and it didn't like it. Okay. All right, we'll just clear that out. Go away. There we go. Compile. We'll make sure we save everything. Everything looks pretty good. We got our delay kicking. Everything's fine. Could just be that I didn't like that I didn't save it, but let's just do that one more time. Let's try it out again. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, I'm not seeing it up in the top corner, so I have a feeling, yeah, I'm going to get another issue when I try and bring it in. Okay, so we are looking at a problem, attempt to access index 1 from that. Let me go back up here. It could be that it's case sensitive, and I'll do uppercase CC there, and let's see how I do now. Yep, there's our 1. That's the problem. The name was case sensitive, so just make sure you put everything in there as you see it. All right, good mistake for me to make, so hopefully you don't make it in the future, right? All right, let's keep moving on here. One thing we're going to be doing with this print string, I'm sorry, not with the print string, but the this information here is we're going to be getting our player index, so we need to make a variable to hold on to that. Makes our lives a lot easier later on. So we're going to hold on to that player index, and in fact, we're going to set it right now. So go ahead and run that into completed. And then I'm going to take this, run it up into the player index. This is just changing it from a string into an integer. And from there, we're going to do a little bit of work. Now, this is where things get a little repetitive, but once you do it one time, it gets a little easier and easier. And there are easier ways to do this, but I want to do it in a little longer way because that's what most of us understand at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and pull off of this, and we're going to be, based on the index that we get, we're going to be changing the 0 material into another color, just like the ones that we made, those materials we made earlier. So what we want to do is we're going to pull off of the condition. We're going to say if it equals something. So let's see here. We're going to do player index. So I'm just going to run this player index right here into this one. Okay, so yeah, that one will be 0. And then our mesh, I'm going to grab a link to that. And I'm going to drag off that and do set material. Let's just do that. Yep, that works. We are doing element index 0. That's the first one that we were messing with. And the first one should be orange. So we can just type that in. There we go. There's our orange. Okay, now we have a lot of things that are going to want this mesh and this index. So to take care of that, I'm just going to pull this mesh down here, and I'm going to move a few things. I'm going to pull this back and pull it down. So all of these other nodes that we're going to be putting together can all pull from the same place. So we got this one is 0, and then it sets a material. Now, unfortunately, we can't just have one material, really. I mean, we could set different things up here to run into one material, but even easier than that would be just copy this and then do Control D, pop it down here. If it's not 0, then we're going to have it go down to the next one, and we're going to hook up the mesh to our set material, the index to our equal to, and for this one, if it's 1, then we're going to have it change over to red. Okay, and then we're going to just do V again, because we've already got that in the buffer from doing a Control D. So from here, we're going to say if this one's false, you can drop down to this one. I'm going to get the player index in here again. So if it's not 0, it's not 1, then it must be 2. And I'm going to run that mesh into here. It's starting to look a little bit like spaghetti, I understand. But we can do a few things to make it look a little bit better. Then finally, we'll have this one go in here. If it's true, then we're going to have this mesh go into that target, and we want the player index to go in here. There we go. And this one is 3. That's our player 4 right there. So if you wanted to, you could go in here and clean these up a little bit. It just depends on what works best for you. You could always put in a little reroute node right here. Just double click on the line, and you could drag these things down so they're like this. And so you have a little bit more of a uniform look to everything if you want. I mean, this is, if you need this, this is here for you. Actually, didn't mean to do that. Okay, yeah, just be a little bit careful. You can actually drag off of these nodes and use them elsewhere. So you can drag straight off of this and do more with it. But this is just one way to kind of take care of that if that's an issue for you. So okay, we got orange, orange, orange. I need to change this one to green. There's green, and this one to blue. Now I did the solid blue. I didn't do the blue I made, which is the one I want. Did I not save my blue that I made earlier? Well, oh, did I not change it? Maybe. That's possible. Let's go check it out. Oh, brother, I didn't. Look at that. Okay, a little refresher. Here we go. Blue. Okay. Apply. Save it. There we go. There's our blue. All right, going to go ahead and compile, and let's try this out. Okay, so play. Hey, there's my orange person right there. Cool. And I'm going to hit start, and we should see a red person. Yay! There's a red person. Okay, cool. One more thing on this one. We're going to add in a text renderer above our third-person character's head, so we can get some numbers on them. We already have the index, so we're just going to use that. First thing I want to do is get that text renderer right there, and we're going to call this player num. Okay, and I want this to be above them. Let's kind of get the camera where we're going to see it. Over here on the side, we want to make a couple changes. We want to put it in center, center there. And then we're going to want to rotate it backwards because, or at least rotate it up so that we can see it as we are checking it out from the camera that's up top. Okay, so that's pretty big. That should do the trick. I'm also going to drag it. Let's see. Which way are they facing forward? So a lot of the time we're going to see them like that. So text, I might need to flip that over. I'm seeing it face up this way, but I have a feeling, like I say, they're going to be looking this direction. So I think have it like that would probably be better. Okay, maybe even a little bit ahead of them. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this take on the index that we need every time. So the player number, we're going to set a text on that. So let me go ahead and bring the player num in. And I've got the player num right here. We can just use the same line. So player num, this is going to take on the set text. So on this one, I can do it a little bit different because we don't have separate materials for this one. So we'll do set text, and all of these can go straight into this one, which is very handy. And then another nice thing is that I can just take straight from this player index right here, go right on over. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. There it is. And the conversion thing is like hidden inside. Oh, there it is. Yeah. I'm going to just put this on top so it's a little easier to work around. But this should change the number of every single one of these characters as they come out. Let's go ahead and just take a look at what it looks like now. See, there's 0, and then there's 1, and then if we did, you know, the other 2, then we'd see those numbers increase. It's not quite what we want, right? We want to see player 1, player 2, player 3. So what we want to do is we want to add something together. So what we'll do is we'll take this right here, that same index, and we're going to add 1 to it. All right, so we're just going to do 1 right there, and then this is going to go into this space now and give us the number we're expecting. So go ahead and hit play. There's 1, and let me click on the screen. There we go. And there's 2, and they're the right colors, and that's what we're looking for. Now, it may not be a big deal to have the 2 kind of face the direction that they're in, but there's another thing that we can use to make this face towards the camera. So let me show you how to do that real quick. So we're going to use the event tick on this one. So this is everything for getting the name, getting that index, and working it into something for us to use a little later on. I'm going to go ahead and put a comment around this. Gets index and uses, well, I can't even read it. Can you? Uses it to assign information, and we'll use this later to adjust. Let's see, we're probably going to be adjusting the HUD with that. It's the first thing I can think of. All right, so we got that. Let's pop over here. We're going to do event tick. There we go. Event tick. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to set the world rotation for the player number. So we're going to go ahead and grab that player number. From this, we're going to do set world rotation. Okay, this is kind of similar to what we did with those statues that faced a certain direction, or the cannons, things like that. Little similar. All right, so we got our player number. We're going to be making a new rotation here. So we're going to do drag off this to 5 find look at rotation. There we go. We'll need a start and an end, so we're going to grab this. We're going to do get actor location. Whoop, gotta spell it right. And nope, that's not what I was looking for. You crazy. Okay, get actor location. That's what I really want. That's what I want. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that works. And actually, we can do that twice. Let's pull this down here. And the thing is that this actor self, that is, you know, the player themselves. And this one we want is the camera. Actually, we're going to use the player camera manager. That's the one we want. Okay. So now, kind of looking back at this, give you a shot of that. There we go. Now when we go back in here, the numbers should stay right on top. Now we might have to adjust them a little bit, but notice they do pretty much stay where we left them. They're not rotating around with the character now. Hit start. Yeah, I'll just have to manually adjust them a little bit, but essentially that puts a number over their head. We can always change this a little bit later if we need to. Notice how it does kind of look like it's moving. The reason for that, like as I go this way, is the camera's angle. So as it gets underneath the camera, it looks like it's kind of getting closer to them. What's actually happening is they're just lining up. That's all it is. So kind of seeing how all that's working together. But that gives you a little bit more control over that. Okay, that gives you a couple ideas on how to differentiate your different player characters and also give you a little springboard to start doing some experimentation on your own. All right, hope that helps you out. We'll have more coming soon.